Hey everybody, Frank from 5AM Ramen here, and I am in Manila, specifically in the Ortigas neighborhood of Manila, and I'm visiting Ramen Nagi. Yes, world famous Ramen Nagi. I love Ramen Nagi and their Tonkotsu or pork bone ramen. They actually have a huge presence here in the Philippines, for those of you that didn't know, and as such, they often have a lot of special limited time bowls that you can't find in Japan or even some of the other countries that they operate in. I'm going to be grabbing their classic Tonkotsu ramen, but with a scallop twist. Very excited about this. I am specifically in Shangri-La Plaza here in Ortigas. Can't wait to dive in. Let's do this. Okay, so stupid me, I got all this great footage inside the ramen restaurant, reacting to eating the ramen, having the soup, the noodles, toppings, everything. And I know a lot of you talk about like, oh, we want to see more footage of you inside the ramen restaurants reacting. I had an opportunity to do that today, but unfortunately, my mic just didn't work. I even tested it beforehand, but after leaving the restaurant and now come back to the hotel, on the way back, I was like, oh my God, none of the audio was picked up. So here I am recapping the ramen from my hotel. Basically, we can use that as B-roll, me eating the ramen and talking like some Chinese kung fu movie that's been dubbed.
You deliberately set up an ambush! You damn bastard!
But I think if anything, not the end of the world, because I can better gather my thoughts now and think about what I liked about this bowl overall. First of all, starting with that soup. Nagi's delicious tonkotsu or pork bone soup. That silky flavor was there, of course, with every sip. But what was immediately noticeable in this bowl was that no matter where you picked up the soup, you were getting a little bit of a different flavor as well. Well, first of all, there was quite a bit of spice. I went with level 4, customizing my ramen. And at Nagi, you can customize your ramen based on things like noodle firmness, noodles thin or thick, and also how rich you want the soup. I pretty much got normal for everything. And then for the spice level, I got level 4, which was pretty hot. So there was a big pile of their secret spicy sauce, and picking up the soup, I would get a lot of that heat. But alongside that, to complement the scallop theme, there was also dry seaweed on top and a seaweed paste with sesame seeds. So you got this very earthy and sea-forward flavor at the same time in that soup, and it went so well with the pork bone base, let's say. And I very much enjoyed it. And I think it just drove home that scallop theme again. And the scallops themselves, if I'm jumping over to the toppings, we had little baby scallops alongside bigger scallops. They were of course delicious. And because they were pan seared, they had a nice smokiness to them. And I think because the outside of those scallops was also coated because of that pan searing, they didn't absorb so much of the pork bone soup. So they really retained their scallop flavor. Delicious, delicious. And if we go back to the soup, again, I think depending on where you put your spoon, you're going to be getting different flavors. But it was, for me at least, with the spice level I chose, a good mix of that pork bone richness, a little bit of flavors of the sea with the seaweed, and also some earthy flavors of the sesame, and also the secret spicy sauce heat, alongside a bit of wasabi. I say a bit, but it was a big clump of wasabi in the corner, and this just added more heat, the kind that of course goes through your nose heat. So it was a lot of fun. It was a relatively hot bowl, but again, I think with none of that heat really taking away from those delicious scallop flavors or even the pork bone soup that they're very much known for. Thin noodles, I got them extra firm again, and this is something I often try to do if I'm getting tonkotsu ramen and I'm filming, just because I'm taking a lot of footage before diving into those noodles. And it was a good decision. Those noodles were nice and firm with that first bite that I had. In this limited time scallop bowl, you actually would normally get a choice in pork belly or pork shoulder. Here, the default was pork shoulder for this limited time bowl, and the pork shoulder was great. Still, given that it's pork, fairly fatty, but also just a huge slab of it, and a big pile of negi on top, or spring onions for sweetness and for nice crunch alongside all of those other toppings, including the pork and the scallops. So overall, this was a winner in my book. I'm a big fan of Nagi, of course, and we actually work with them in Tokyo, and I'm glad that I was able to try this limited time bowl. If I were living in the Philippines, or I think in the US, other places where Nagi has these limited time bowls, I'd definitely be excited to try them every single time. In Japan though, they don't really do these limited time bowls at their main Shibuya branch. Of course, this is sacred ground where the Shibuya branch is, but you don't see these seasonal items, unfortunately. So very excited. I was able to dive in and they knocked it out of the park. It was a lot of fun. This particular branch again was at the Shangri-La Plaza, which is in Ortigas in Manila. And this is more of an upscale mall. And there happens to be a Nagi inside this mall. A lot of fun, enjoyed the ramen. I am a little saddened by that footage inside the ramen shop, but again, as we're doing right now, at least we can use it as B-roll. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the short one bowl video here at Ramen Nagi in the Philippines, and I hope to see you in the next video. Please subscribe, hit that like button if you haven't already, and hope to see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for joining. Frank from 5 AM Ramen, signing out.